Welcome to beautiful Balboa Park in San Diego, California, home to the world-famous San Diego Zoo. This park is packed with incredible stories, landmarks, and history. Take this massive Morton Bay fig tree, for example. Planted back in 1915, it has grown into one of the largest fig trees west of the Mississippi and still stunning visitors more than a century later. And here is the San Diego Natural History Museum. Founded in 1874, the museum moved back into Balboa Park in 1917. The building you see here today began as a much smaller structure when it was dedicated in 1933. It has continued to expand over the years as the museum grew into one of the park's must-see attractions. Let's keep exploring and see what else Balboa Park has to offer. The Casa del Prado buildings in front of us were built in 1971 as the close replicas of the original structures that once stood on this site. Let's dive into the history of Balboa Park. The land was first set aside in 1835 for public recreational use, but there wasn't much permanent development until 1909, when San Diego decided to host the 1915 Panama-California Exposition here. Several buildings were constructed in the Spanish Colonial Revival style in preparation for the expo. The exposition officially opened in 1914 and was later extended through 1916, ultimately drawing more than 3.7 million visitors. After the expo ended, the exhibits were supposed to be removed and returned to their original locations from around the world. However, World War I had begun, and many exhibits belonged in Europe, making it impossible to send them back during the war, creating a problem of how to handle and store the exhibits until the war ended. Some of the animals that remained eventually became the foundation of what is now the San Diego Zoo, which occupies about 100 acres of the park's 1,200 acres. Another challenge was that many of the exposition buildings were intended to last only a year before being demolished. After 2 years, many were already deteriorating, and funding to repair them wasn't available. The city considered tearing them down. But then in 1917, the U.S. Navy took over the park during World War I, using the buildings as barracks and training facilities that housed up to 5,000 troops. The Navy repaired and maintained the structures until 1921, when the park was returned back to the city. After returning the park back to the city, just a short time later, World War II arrived. After the attack on Pearl Harbor, the park was again taken over by the military and converted into hospital wards for wounded soldiers. In 1944, the park was returned to the city, with the Navy paying for $840,000 to restore it to its pre-war conditions. Several of the buildings were restored, while several other buildings were too damaged to save. Before those buildings were removed, molds were taken of the decorative features so they could later be reproduced on permanent replacement buildings. The pond in front of us was built for the World Expo as an entrance to the Botanical Building. It was filled with lilies and lotuses. During World War I, the U.S. Navy used it for training sailors in rowing and swimming. World War II, the pond was deepened and turned into a physical therapy pool for wounded soldiers. A few years later, the city turned it into a swimming pool for the kids. Today, Balboa Park is home to 16 museums, covering everything from art, space exploration, automobiles, airplanes, model railroads, and even a Comic-Con museum. Right there is the San Diego Museum of Art. Balboa Park is free to enter and walk around, which makes it an awesome place to spend the day exploring. Now, some of the museums and attractions inside the park do have an entry fee. You can either buy tickets for each individual museum, Or you can grab an Explorer Pass, which gives you access to multiple museums, and you can spend some money if you plan on visiting several spots. The large tower in the background, you will see it in many scenes throughout this video. It is a symbol of San Diego. The iconic California Tower has served as a magnificent entry to the Balboa Park since its construction for the 1915 Panama-California Expo. The majestic tower, home to beautiful bells that chime every quarter of an hour, soars 200 feet above the California building, which houses the San Diego Museum of Man, which is now called the Museum of Us. You can schedule a tower tour with paid admission to the museum. Once you reach the top of the tower, you will be treated to 360-degree views of Balboa Park, San Diego, and even the San Diego Zoo. Unfortunately, the day we were there, this was closed, so we were not able to climb the tower. This is Alcazar Gardens. This garden is unique to Southern California, inspired directly by the 14th century Royal Alcazar Gardens of Seville, Spain. The design refines centuries of experience and a judicious use of water as an abnormant to the enclosed garden. Alcazar Garden provides visitors with cultural touchstones reaching back to the gardens of ancient Arabia, Parisian, North Africa, and Moorish Spain. El Cid Campeador is an outdoor equestrian statue depicting the 11th century Spanish knight and warlord. The statue is 23 foot tall. This statue is an important spot in the park because the park shuttles stop here and you can take them to multiple locations throughout the park, making it a great starting point for exploring. That's fun dragon sculpture in front of the Mengai Museum. As we head south, we're going to come to the House of Pacific Relations International Cottages. These cottages represent 35 cultures from around the world. Each house serves as a cultural hub, offering a glimpse into how people live, celebrate, and preserve traditions in different parts of the world. This is Pan America Plaza. It is a central gathering area in Balboa Park that connects several museums, theaters, event halls, and nearby cactus garden. After we finished the Pan America Plaza area, we jumped on the park shuttle and traveled across President's Way to the administrative courtyard. As we walked into this courtyard, we were greeted by a beautiful open lawn, tiled fountains, and flower beds lining the walkway. Vine-covered arbors shade the paths, with gazebos placed along the way to complete the scene. This video is a little short on detail and lacking some parts of the park. Now, let me explain why. Balboa Park was almost an afterthought for us. We were already in San Diego visiting the zoo, and before heading back to Phoenix the next day, we figured why not go check out the park, and honestly, I'm really glad we did. The buildings and architecture completely blew me away. The Spanish-style design, the history, and just overall atmosphere made it way better than I ever expected. It's one of those places you just don't really appreciate it until you're actually walking through it. Looking back, I wish I had filmed more. At the time, I shot a few clips, but had no real plans to make any posts about the park. Just felt like a quick visit and not something I needed to spend much time documenting. But after going through the footage later, and and after a few people asking about our visit, I decided to put it together, and this is what I had. It may not show everything Balboa Park has to offer, but it's enough to share just how amazing this place really is, and hopefully you decide to visit the park if you're in the San Diego area. Just to the side of the courtyard is an area. It's a location of the Veterans Museum and Gardens area. The Living Memorial Garden is honor to the men and women who served in the armed forces. The museum opened in 1989 in what was formerly the Navy Hospital's chapel on Inspiration Point. It features items from World War I through the Iraqi wars. On the east side of this location is the Navy Medical Center San Diego, which is still used today by the Navy. This is Palm Canyon as we walk down this wooden footpath to the hidden spot in Balboa Park, where winding paths take visitors into a shady, lush canyon. This is the original group of Mexican fan palms, so prominent in the canyon. The palms date back to 1912. Up next is the Spreckles Organ Pavilion, one of Balboa Park's most iconic landmarks. The pavilion was donated to the park by local business brothers John and Adolph Spreckles. It was built for the 1915 Panama-California Exposition. Today, the pavilion houses the world's largest outdoor pipe organ, featuring over 5,000 pipes. If you're visiting on the Sunday, this is a stop you won't want to miss. The pavilion comes alive every Sunday at 2 p.m. when the park hosts free organ concerts open to the public. The Japanese Friendship Garden and Museum is a living, breathing work of art that beautifully symbolizes the enduring bond between San Diego and its sister city, Yokohama, Japan. Within the garden, visitors discover meticulously crafted stone landscapes, peaceful koi ponds, soothing water features, and traditional Japanese architectural elements, all set against breathtaking natural vistas. Beyond its visual beauty, Japanese Friendship Garden offers a rich cultural experience through educational programs, art exhibits, seasonal festivals, and horticultural classes. Each visit provides a deeper appreciation for the Japanese culture, design, philosophy of harmony between nature and people. As we head out of the park, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and go watch that next video.